Let's talk about one of the few lists that you can't just download right off of PropStream, and that's the city code violation list or the county code violation list. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to get that code violation list. I'll give you guys two different methods because I've gotten the code violation list in Hamilton County and also in Maricopa County. So without talking too much, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and head over to Google and Google your county's code violation, right? So you'll Google, for me, Hamilton County Code Enforcement. So when you Google this, you can click on this, but what you're looking for is a map, right? So specifically in Hamilton County, they have what's called this Cages Maps. So you go ahead and click on this Cages Maps, and what pops up is all the neighborhoods in your county or your city. So this is like city of Cincinnati, but it's Hamilton County is, city of Cincinnati. So for the actual code violation, you're actually dealing with the city, but the city of Cincinnati is in Hamilton County. So that being said, you can actually filter which ones you want. So you have the demolition program, vacated and condemned buildings, building enforcement. You see all the different ones, right? So I'll tell you what, I just deselected, and the demolition program, you can select that. The vacant and condemned buildings, you can select that. And property enforcement, you select that. So to go through the specific ones, so these ones right here, demolition is ones that may be, getting knocked down, right? These may be getting knocked down, basically. These vacated and condemned buildings, they are exactly what they say. They're vacated or they're condemned. They could be having lead problems or whatever it may be, but some of them may be condemned for that problem because it's toxic, or they've just been vacant for so long, right? So then you have property enforcement. So the property enforcement is like tall grass, litter, like all that kind of stuff, right? But those are kind of things that starts to implicate that someone, it may be, either don't care about the property or they're just leaving the property alone. And then you got vacant building licenses, and these are people who have licenses for the building. So this is actually a very important one, right? The vacant building license. So it's a vacant building license, and then there's a VBML, vacant building maintenance license. They're like basically the same thing, but either way, sometimes the city, if the property's been vacant for a long period of time, and if the property is like in horrible condition, the city would get to a point where they would rather just knock that property down so it would, look better on the actual city itself rather than just having that property there. But if the property owner wants that property to stay because they plan on working on it, then they have to get what's called a vacant building maintenance license. So this vacant building maintenance license, that's something that costs, it can range between like $3,500 to like, $1,000. Somewhere in between that, depends on where you are, depending on where your city, your county standards are. But that being said, you have to get the license, but you even have to adhere to their standards, right? So they have like a specific program that they'll put you on, which is like 6 months. Basically, they'll say something like, this property has to be renovated in 9 months. And you have to show, every 2-3 months, they'll inspect the property to make sure that you're progressing. If you're not progressing, they'll take your license away. No refund. They'll take your license away and they'll demolish the property, and you have to pay for that demolition, right? So this being said, you as an investor, you just have to take an account with this with your buyers, right? So I went through that with my first wholesale deal. I was going to make like $18,000 on it. Long story short, I had to chop that all the way in half. Ended up making like $4,000. It was $8,000. I had to split it in half. But basically, I had to do that because we had to account for the vacant building maintenance license. The buyers did not want to pay for it. So since the buyers didn't want to pay for it, then that's what we had to do. So guys, the next step here is going to be, go ahead and let's jump into it. So your next step here is going to be the demolition, vacant building maintenance, property enforcement, and you're good right there. So abandoned vehicles, zoning enforcement, all these things, these are different ones, but you really don't need to go into it. But the great part about it, right? You can go here and you go into areas, so you see the specific areas that it's in with your specific streets, and then you go up here to, give me 1 second. Here we go. All right. So you can see the specific different neighborhoods that it's in, right? So say if you were purchasing just in this neighborhood or just in that neighborhood, you see the specific ones. So that being said, with you seeing the specific ones, helps you be able to, basically filter what areas you want to work in. And also you'll see the date entered, so you know how long that they've been on there. So with you knowing how long they've been on there, you will be able to, kind of gauge the interest that they may have. So you'll be able to know all of these things. And with you knowing, what their case type may be, you can play off of all these things. So the more information you have, you'll be able to play off of all of this information. So another thing, once you have this, you have to, just like you have to play, so just how you have to play to the buyer, you have to play to the seller that same way. So since, they need a vacant building maintenance license, you'll tell them, hey, you should sell this property because you have to get a vacant building maintenance license on the property. And they'll be like, I don't need to get the license, I'll just let them demolish it. Well, if you let them demolish the property, Mr. Seller, you're also going to have to pay about $20,000. And it's about $20,000. Don't say a specific price. Don't say a specific price. It's about $20,000 though. So you not saying, a specific price, it's about however much, but long story short, you'll let them know that they have to pay that in taxes to the city, that demolition charge. So why not sell it to me and I'll give you, a couple $100 if the numbers work out that way. So there you go. This is all you need to know. If your stuff is online, you're good, right? But if it's not online, then you have was this right here, which is a co-violation list. Now, what you see right here, I got this from the county of Maricopa. So Maricopa County, Phoenix. I got it from them. That way, they didn't have their code violation list online, as you see, like how code enforcement is in Cincinnati and Hamilton County. They did not have that. So I had to go and actually call them to get this list. So I had to go downtown to the actual, the court system, the building system department, whatever. And I had to fill out some sheets and, pay for it. It cost about, I believe, $35. But long story short, this is what I got. So they gave me, everything. It was as of January 1st, 2020. And it was from, that time. But this is all the cases that's been open, right? So this is 2001. So it goes all the way. So as you can see, theirs is a bit different. You see the case number, open date, you get the street address, property owner name. This is all you need to skip trace somebody, but then you see the reason. So the reason is over here. So this is a bit more, you would probably want to get a VA or something to even break this down to do it. But you really, like you see what you get, right? So this is basically what you get. It's a lot of information. I can't tell you, I looked at it, I used some of it, but I wasn't using it like a lot, because it's just so much information, right? So I personally prefer it being online, but if it's not online, I guarantee your county still has it. So go ahead and call them and get the information, and you go ahead and do what you have to do to scrub the data and get a skip trace. Now, the reason why I like code enforcement is because, like I said, it's not on any other list. It most often is basically free data, even if you have to pay a little bit for it. It's basically free, and not too many people are going to go that extra step to scrub the data, especially when it's an Excel spreadsheet, right? So versus it being online. So you being able to put that extra effort forward, I am a big proponent of, going out there. And I believe that you should, contact the county yourself as much as possible, because you're getting that data fresh before it gets on sites like PropStream and other data providers. All right, guys, this is all you need to know with code violations. I told you about the vacant building maintenance license, and they're the same, right? So you don't need to go out there and tell them that that they're a code violation. Don't do that. If anything, just mention that you rolled past the property, you're looking to purchase in the area, wanted to know if they were interested in selling. That implies everything, right? You roll past it. They probably know that they have not seen it in a while, so it may not be in good shape. You don't need to go and tell them that it's not in the best of shape. You don't need to go and tell them that it's a pre-foreclosure. What's understood does not have to be said, and it works better in your favor. As always, if your heart is in every step, then you're already a success. Get to stepping.